vigorous round of embroidering?
Look, I never had to pay the vigorous debt he demands.
For all your vigorous attempts to stop me from coming here, I'm just surprised to see you.
Welcome to TalkWord. This is the show where we get really curious about the power and the stories behind the words we use every single day. And today, we've got a word that is just buzzing with energy and force. All right, let's start with a little thought experiment. Imagine you're trying to describe something, like a really intense workout or a super passionate debate. You could say strong, but that feels kind of flat, right? Energetic is getting closer, but it's missing a certain punch. So what's that perfect word you're searching for? Well, that word we're looking for is vigorous, and that's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to unpack what it really means, and more importantly, how you can use it to make your own language way more descriptive and powerful. Okay, so on paper, the basic definition is pretty straightforward. It's an adjective, and it's all about physical strength, effort, or energy. But the dictionary definition only tells part of the story. Vigorous is more than that. It's about something that is actively full of life and force. I love these images because they really break down the feel of the word. You've got that lightning bolt for pure energy, right? Then the flexed bicep for that raw strength. And the charging rhino? That's just pure, forceful power. It's really the mix of all three of these things that makes a word like vigorous so special. All right, so now that we have that picture in our heads, let's look at where you're probably going to see this word the most when we're talking about physical action. Yeah, this is its natural habitat, We're talking about things that take a lot of physical effort. So think about a really challenging hike, a super fast-paced game of basketball, or, hey, even some really enthusiastic gardening. Basically, if it gets your heart pumping and makes you work, you can probably call it vigorous. And here's a perfect example. When a doctor says you need vigorous exercise, they don't mean a casual stroll in the park. No way. That word vigorous is doing a lot of work there. It's telling you this needs to be intense. We're talking about exercise that's demanding, gets you breathing hard, and really, truly challenges your body. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. The power of vigorous isn't just about bodies and muscles. Nope. This word is super flexible, and we can actually use it to talk about the energy of our minds and even our words. So let's step away from the gym for a second. When we use vigorous to talk about something non-physical, it's all about intellectual or emotional force. A vigorous debate isn't some quiet, polite little chat. It's passionate, it's full of strong arguments, and it's buzzing with energy. This example is perfect. She mounted a vigorous defense. See, that tells you so much. It wasn't a weak or kind of sort of defense. The word vigorous lets you know that she fought for her ideas with passion, with solid evidence, and with some seriously powerful reasoning. You can almost feel the force of her argument just from that one word. All right, so at this point, you might be thinking, okay, I get it, but why not just say strong? And that is an excellent question, because figuring out the difference between these two is the secret to really mastering this word. Okay, look at this. This really clears it up. Strong is usually about a state or a potential. So a person can be strong, a table can be strong. A weightlifter is strong even when he's just sitting on the couch, right? But vigorous, that's all about the action. It's about using that energy. So the weightlifter's workout, that's what's vigorous. See the difference? One is potential, the other is action. All right, let's bring this all home. Because learning a word is great, but using it is even better. Let's talk about how you can take this awesome word and start using it confidently yourself. Look, when you decide to use vigorous instead of just, strong or hard, you're painting a much more vivid picture for whoever's listening. You're not just saying something has strength, you're saying it has life, intensity, action. Honestly, it's one of those words that just makes your English sound that much more precise and descriptive. So, I'm going to leave you with a little challenge for this week. Think about what's coming up for you. Are you going to have a vigorous debate about the last movie you saw? Maybe do some vigorous yard work? I want you to find just one opportunity to use this word. It's a great way to lock it into your vocabulary. Hey, if you had fun breaking this word down with me, your word journey doesn't have to stop here. Check out the TalkWord app. You can explore tons of other words, and get this, you can even create your own little explainers, just like this one, for any word you want to learn. It's pretty cool. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today.